Hello. How are you guys doing? Well, first, I am sick, and I did not feel very good. I was in bed for the majority of today, but I wanted to get videos up on all of my channels, so I got up finally, and I went and got some coffee. I felt a little bit better, but I did not feel great. Talked to my sponsor, because we're supposed to do my whole inventory tomorrow, and she was like, well, if you're not feeling great, I'd like to reschedule it. She's like, because I want you to feel really good, like health-wise, while we do it. She's like, I don't want you going into an inventory not feeling great. And I was like, okay. I said, I can do it. And she was like, no, let's just postpone it. So I'm not doing I'm not doing my inventory tomorrow. And yeah, so I got up, and then I went and got coffee, and I came home, and I filmed, and it was late in the day too, and SpaghettiOs. And then I filmed videos. I got videos up on every single one of my channels today. Yeah, so then I filmed videos, and then I talked to Alex, and he was getting ready to come home, and I said, are you hungry? I said, I'm really hungry. I'm gonna go get something to eat. And he said, no, I'm not really hungry. And I said, okay. And I had like one more video I wanted to film two more videos. I wanted to do my Peterisms video, and then I wanted to do my review video. And I asked him if he would like film a video with me for the review channel, and he was like, yeah. He was like, that's fine. And so he came home, and we did that. And before we did that, he was talking to his friend Sarah, and she was like, I really want to go get something to eat. Do you want to go get something to eat? And he was like, no, but Peter wants to go get something to eat. Why don't you guys go get something to eat together? And so we were getting ready to go to, so I said, okay, fine, like I'm gonna go take a shower. I thought maybe if I took a shower, because I hadn't yet, like I would feel a little bit better. So he was like, well, I guess I'll go with you guys. So the three of us went to Cheesecake Factory. We had a really good time. And I've just like, I've had like the sniffles and a cold all day. It's just, I'm really kind of getting over it at this point. And it kind of comes and goes. Like there's periods where I feel a little bit better. And, but right now is not one of them. We got back from dinner. We like stayed at dinner for a long time and just kind of hung out and talked. And then when we got back, Alex was going to bed right away. He was like, because he has to work tomorrow morning early. And so, I laid down with him, and, I completely fell asleep. I completely crashed out, totally crashed out. And now it is 2:12 a.m. And I was driving around listening to a little bit of my audiobook. I'm listening to this book called Sadie. It is by, I'll tell you who it's by. It's really good. Courtney Summers. And it's really good. I love it. So you should check it out if you want to read it. It's like, it's interesting because it's dubbed a young adult book, but it doesn't read like a young adult book, except for that the girl is younger. But I think she's like supposed to be like 20 in the book. And it's about her sister is killed, and nobody knows who killed her younger sister. And then she like goes to try to find the guy. You can't really tell if she knows who killed her sister or not, but she goes on the road to like try to find the killer. I'm like halfway through it on Audible. It's really good. My goal for 2019, my reading goal, is to read 100 books this year. And I'm going to listen to an audiobook every week and read a physical book every week. That's my goal. So, yeah, I'm actually kind of like doing that right now, because I'm almost halfway done with this book, and then I'm reading this James Patterson, the quickie that I was reading already at home. So it's a really quick read because it's like a James Patterson book. But I hate being sick. I hate being sick, because I just don't want to do anything when I'm feeling like this. And I worked on my inventory today, and then filmed my videos, and that was it. And I got almost everything accomplished that I wanted to get accomplished today. Oh, I was supposed to go see my trainer this morning, well, at like 1, and I texted him, and I was like, I am not feeling great, can we reschedule? And he was like, yeah, no problem. So, I gotta get back on track with that stuff. But like, I literally was, you know, like when you wake up and you've got a cold and you're like sneezing, it's like, it was like that this morning when I woke up. I was like, I've got to go back to bed and rest a little bit. So I did that. He was really nice about that. I actually wish I had some Kleenex in this car because I don't have any Kleenex and my nose is kind of like running. But, so yeah, that was it. We had a good time. Alex is going over to Sarah's tomorrow to do vision boards, and she invited me over too. So depending on what time I get my stuff done tomorrow, I may do that. And then on Friday, I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm supposed to do. And that's about it. Okay, the vlog is done at 6 minutes and 11 seconds, 12 seconds, 14 seconds. I got this like calendar book thing. I may have talked about this on here last night. I think I did, but I got this like calendar book thing, and I went through last night and I listed like everything I wanted to get done every day this week, and I accomplished everything on there today that I wanted to get done except for doing a live stream. I wanted to do a live stream tonight, but when we got back from the restaurant, I just was like so exhausted. I was like, I just cannot sit down there and do a live stream tonight, but I really wanted to do that. I didn't talk to Tanya at all today. I swear the day just kind of flew by because I slept a lot of it, and then, well, I would sleep and then get up and take the dogs out and stuff, and then I would come back to bed and rest for like half an hour, and then finally when I got up and I was like, okay, I'm up, get out of the house, go get something done. Yeah. I feel like I'm kind of like, even though like I was real productive today and I didn't feel well, I feel like I'm kind of like dragging myself into like 2019 a little bit. Like I felt like that a little bit. I felt a little bit like that today. Like, I don't know, this is like where I'm like hard on myself, like where I have like a bunch of stuff that I want to do, and you know, I've never been good like when like I just don't feel well, just like sitting there and like taking care of myself and not doing anything. And in fact, when I was talking to my sponsor today, you know, she's like, well, what do you have to do today? And I was like, well, I want to get these videos done, and then like I've got to, like, I wanted to return this stuff to these stores, and I had some calls I needed to make and stuff. And she was like, why don't you just not do anything today and just lay in bed and, you know, just watch TV? And I said, well, I just really have a hard time doing that. And I said, I think I'll feel better if I push myself through it. And she said, you'll either feel better or you'll make yourself more sick. And she's like, you know, she's like a big proponent on like, you know, taking care of your health and stuff like that. And I was like, okay. I was like, so I will take care of myself. And then I got up and I did all these videos because, well, this is what happened. Like, I went and got coffee, and by the time that I got back from getting coffee, I felt a lot better. So Alex and I are having so much fun on that. We were coming up with a bunch of ideas of pictures that we want to take tonight. But I told him, I said, we have to post something. So we went to Cheesecake Factory. And I said, we have to post something. I said, so can we take a picture? And so Sarah was like taking pictures of us, and she was laughing. And I said, I want to post something every day on this Instagram. And I said, that's what you told me that we were going to do when we started this thing. And he goes, okay. So he's like, let's take this picture, and let's take that picture. And so he was like kind of directing the whole thing. And I was like, we just got laughing so hard taking these pictures. But anyway, so right as I was falling asleep, he said, I just posted the picture. That's like the last thing I remember him saying to me. I said, okay. our friends lived in that house when, the one that I talk about that had, that we call, Carol Stuffing. Anyway, that was their house when I was growing up. It was right over there. And it's interesting because like the house now has like those candles, you know, in all the windows, like for Christmas time. But when they lived there, they had the candles in all the windows too. And it's like this gray wooden house that sits like way back. And we used to go over there on Thanksgiving Day. Like afterwards, I remember going over there like when my mom and dad were like separated, and we would go over to my aunt and uncle's for Thanksgiving, and then we would go over there later on Thanksgiving because we would just stay at my aunt and uncle's house, which is literally like right around the corner. So I remember this one time, and like they would have this like big Thanksgiving like party, like where all the adults came afterwards, and people would bring. I've talked a little bit. I think I may have shared this exact same story on here, but people would bring like kitchen stuff. Like they would each, you know, bring leftovers from Thanksgiving, and everybody would have it in the kitchen, and then you know the adults would like drink and be down in the living room, and they'd be like, you know, listening to music and talking. And there was like a little party and stuff, and the kids would all be upstairs, and like the age range of the kids was like. Well, I would have been like the youngest one at like 6 or 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way up to like I don't even know what. But I remember this one time, this one Thanksgiving, we were over there, and Caroline and I would have been like the youngest ones, and they were like, there was somebody in the backyard or something, and we were like watching. We could see these two guys like creeping around like the backyard. And like we just sat there and watched them for a while, and then like they were like ran downstairs and like told their like parent. It was just like creepy. I always think about that when I see that house, and I think about like Thanksgiving and stuff. I can't believe I didn't tell that story on Thanksgiving because I always associate Thanksgiving with that. When I was growing up, I lived on a cul-de-sac, and like we backed up to a woods. I've driven by there. I've shown the house that I grew up in on the vlog before. So I don't remember what that vlog is called, but I think the house is like on the thumbnail of the vlog. But anyway, I wish I knew exactly which vlog that was, just so I could go back. Well, I guess I could just drive down there and go see the house if I really wanted to that badly. But that was actually kind of a funny vlog because when I was driving by, this girl that I grew up with, she bought the house across the street from her mom and dad, which is like right next to my house. And so she stopped me when I was vlogging, and she was like, sir, what were you filming back there? If you've seen the vlog, you know what I'm talking about. And it was this girl that I grew up with. And so I was like, I said to her, like when I stopped, I was like, it's me, it's Peter Monn. She was like, oh my God. And she knows Alex. like, so she was like, oh my God. She was like, I didn't know that was you. And it was a really funny vlog. But anyway, I don't know what year this would have been, but we had in Indianapolis a cat burglar. And this guy was like literally like climbing on people's roofs and going in their bedrooms like while they were asleep and stealing like their jewelry and stuff. Like these people would wake up and they would be like, this guy would be like standing over them, and then he would like go out, literally just like go out their window and stuff like that. And I think it started in that summer, but that winter, so we like backed up to a woods, right? And the woods went all the way back to like this golf course, and it just went on forever and ever and ever. And I had like a creek behind our house and stuff like that. Well, my mom would get up in the morning and she would put the dog like on this leash that we had. We had like one of those runner leashes, you know, that would just like run forever. Like he'd be on a leash, but then he could like run, you know what I mean? This is back before we had those, what do you call it? Those invisible fences. So anyway, she got up that morning and she went to go put the dog on the leash, which she would go through the garage, and then it was like the garage, like we had a side door from the garage going outside, and she put him on it, and when she opened the door, there was like this jewelry box sitting right there. And so my mom like called the police, and she had to go like testify for this case and everything because there were like footsteps coming, like you could see like the footsteps going like through our drive, because it had just snowed the night before, and you could see the footsteps like going from like through our driveway and all this kind of stuff. Oh my god, stupid camera. It was so funny how many people commented last night that how much you could see from this truck, or this, it's an SUV, but it really drives like a car, to be honest. How many people commented like how much you could see of driving around? It was interesting. How many people from Indianapolis watch my vlog? I'd kind of be interested to know, if you're from Indianapolis and you watch my vlog, like how you found me. Like if you found me from like my other channels or this channel specifically, and whatever. I do tag these vlogs like Indianapolis YouTuber, Indianapolis vlogger, Indiana YouTuber, Indiana vlogger, and the reason that I do that is because when I was like, before I made videos, I would always search like people in my local area because I wanted to watch people that were like local, and I could never find anybody. Like I never knew anybody, you know. This was before I found, you know, somebody just recently recommended to me Atlanta, Indiana. Didn't know Atlanta, Indiana. I knew John Green was in Indianapolis, like once he moved here, but that was after Fault in Our Stars. And I didn't really know any Indiana YouTubers. And I just thought it would be kind of cool to watch somebody, you know, from here. So that's why I tag that, my videos that now, because like if somebody's looking for it, you know, it'll pull up. But so I'd be interested if anybody, like how somebody found specifically me as a vlogger, and that like if you're from Indianapolis. I'm trying to think if there's other, oh, I know, what's her name? I can't think of her first name. We follow each other on Instagram. She's a beauty channel. I know exactly where she lives, because she lives by Alex's brother, kind of. But I think her name's like Jam Beauty. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? She's really pretty. And then her husband's like a travel vlogger. She's from Indianapolis. And then Lana, Indiana, and I like talked a little bit. She's really friendly. And then Gabe Babe TV used to live here. I used to see them quite a bit. I don't ever see them here anymore. I actually think they live kind of close to me somewhere, because I used to see them a lot, and they would go to a lot of the places around me. Who else? John Green still lives here. I don't know if he even, I haven't watched a John Green Vlogbrother video in forever, but I do know that he still lives here. And who else is from Indianapolis? I wish there were some other YouTubers here that, I don't know, I think it'd just be kind of fun to have, you know, other YouTubers to like go out to lunch with and talk and be friendly with and go get coffee, and you know what I mean? Like, I just wish there was. I wonder why in every other major city there's like lots of like YouTubers, but in Indianapolis there's not a lot. I think it's interesting. And there's been a couple YouTubers from Indianapolis that end up like moving away. They don't stay here for very long. If you guys know any more Indiana YouTubers, let me know in the comment section below. I am like not proud. I will reach out to them with quickness and be like, hey, do you want to get together and go have coffee? I think it's just fun to have somebody else that kind of understands what you're going through and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? And like to talk about like, you know, creativity and like, hey, what do you think of this idea? And like, you know, let's go have, you know what I mean? And let's go have coffee. Like the coffee party, you see, like that's what I really want to do. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Are there... I don't really know anybody else. Oh. I hate being sick. It just slows me down. And I'm just like so not good at just laying there and like watching TV when I could be doing something else. Like that was going to be one of my goals for 2019, was to really just kind of relax and watch. Like my husband the other day, he was like halfway through the series before I even knew he was watching it. And he goes, I'm watching the series and it is so good. You would really like it. This is so funny, right? You ready? And I go, well, what is it? And he goes, it's called You. And I go, oh, I said, I read that book. I said, that was one of our book club books. I go, I talked to you about that. And he goes, did you? And I go, yeah, I remember we were at brunch and I was talking to you about it. And he goes, well, the series is so good. And I go, well, I thought it was on like Lifetime or something. And he goes, well, it's on Netflix now. He literally finished the whole series. I think it's only like 8 episodes or 10 episodes. He finished the whole series literally in one day. And I was like, and see, I never just sit there and like get through one episode. Like the other day we were talking about Sabrina, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and I told him, I said, did you hear that it got renewed, you guys, for like 5 seasons? Did you hear this? Like, this never happens, okay? Like, no show ever gets renewed for that many seasons. And I said, did you hear that it got renewed for like 5 seasons? And he's like, it's a really, really good show. And I go, is it? And he goes, it's really good. It's really creative. It's really different. He goes, you would love it. Well, I got like 5 or 6 episodes in, and then I just fade out. Unless it's something that I'm super interested in, like Making a Murderer or, you know, The Haunting of Hill House or something like that. Like, I get really bored very quickly, and it has to keep my attention, and it has to hold it, like, really, you know, like, hard, like, hold my attention, like, strong, or I just get bored of it, and then I don't want to watch it anymore. Oh. You know what? I have not had, I don't even know when. Well, that's not true. I was going to say I haven't had a fountain pop, but the other night I got, I haven't gone through like McDonald's in forever is what I was going to say. Because I got that carry-out fountain pop from wherever we went the other night. Where did we go the other night that I got that? Was that Cheesecake Factory? God, we had a Cheesecake Factory way too much. I haven't gone through McDonald's in a while and got a fountain pop, and I'm kind of craving it tonight. And in all honesty, I'm not really trying to not drink fountain pop, although I know that I shouldn't, because my trainer was like, you know, I'd rather have you drink anything in the world than diet soda. So I'm trying not to drink it as often. I'm trying to get bottles of water instead, but I kind of would like to have a Diet Coke tonight. It sounds kind of good. We were having this conversation at dinner tonight. Like, Alex takes that emergency stuff. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? He, like, swears by it. And Sarah was, like, saying that she had read some article that it was, like, it's a scam or something. Like, it doesn't really, like, keep you healthy or whatever. And Alex was like, really? He's like, well, it's working for me, even though he just was sick. And, and she's like, yeah, she's like, I heard it's just, it's, you know, I mean, all it is vitamin C, and it doesn't, like, really keep you, like, that, you know, healthy or anything like that. Because I was all ready to go home and take some vitamin C. Emergency. There's a gas station up here. Maybe I'll stop and go in there and just get a bottle of water. That would probably be better for me. As far as feeling, I was just thinking about that. Like, it's good for me to drink a lot of water when I'm not feeling well. So that's what I'll do in just a second. Yeah. Do you ever feel like you kind of have cabin fever? Like, that's how I felt tonight. Like, I needed to go and have dinner and, like, get out of the house. Like, do you ever feel like that? Oh, it's gonna stop. Hold on. So by the time that Alex got home tonight, that's how I was feeling. I was like, I need to get out of this house, and I need to go get something to eat. I can't, like, I had literally left for just the time it took me to go get coffee and come back home. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta get out of this house. The dogs were very sweet, though, today, all day, when I wasn't feeling well. I'm gonna put on some of my little lip gloss. Maybe that'll make me feel better. I have a feeling, I had this feeling today, like I was looking at the weather, and we're not supposed to have like any precipitation until Monday, and it's supposed to be rain, and like the weather all this week is supposed to be like in the 40s. It says right now the temperature is 29 degrees Fahrenheit. It actually doesn't feel that cold outside. I have a feeling that, do you ever sit at a light, first of all, like late at night? Like, I'm sitting here and it's like solid green, and it just, like, it's not, and there's nobody coming on either side. You just like sit here forever. But like the last time I was here and I turned that way and I went around, here it turned yellow. The last time I, probably because I moved up a little bit, I went down there. As soon as I turned, it turned. But anyway, I have this feeling today that like we're not going to have like really any snow this whole winter. Like I thought we were going to have a really bad winter earlier in the year when it started, because we had some snow early on, but there's like no forecast for snow anytime soon. And I'm like, I just don't think that we're going to have a bad winter. I think this is going to be it. I think it's going to be 20 to 30 and maybe some rain every once in a while, but I don't think we're going to have like any real heavy snow, like anything, you know? I said that to Alex and he was like, well, sometimes it snows in the late, early morning. He's like, but it's probably usually melted, you know, by like 10 or 11 o'clock. And I was like, yeah, but I don't, like, even then, like, I don't remember, like, because I get up and take the dogs out, and I don't, you know, remember it being, like, snowy. Like, I mean, it'll snow a little bit, like flurries, but not so much where there's, like, noticeable, like, you know, a half an inch of snow on the ground or anything. There's, like, one night I was driving home. I can't remember, like, from the casino or something. I know I was vlogging, and there was, like, it was, like, kind of sticking. Do you remember that? That was not too long ago. But other than that, I don't remember really any snow. So, I don't know. I wonder if we're going to go the whole winter and not get any snow. I do want to say this, that I want to start vlogging more throughout the day. I think it would be more interesting for you guys, and I also think, like, to have, like, more of those pieces all together, you know, versus, like, just driving straight for an hour every night. I want to show more of, like, what my day looks like, so I'm going to try to start doing that. I've got to buy another battery for my camera. Like, I've got to remember that. I went and did it at Best Buy, but they didn't have the battery that I was looking for, and so I was like, well, I'll just get online and order it, and I keep on forgetting to do that, so, yeah, maybe I'll do that tonight when I get home. I always remember to do stuff late. This church has a sign out front, and it says, questions Alexa can't answer. Like, consult the church, you know? That's kind of cute, don't you think? When churches kind of try to get, like, you know, with the times. I kind of love that. I'm gonna get some Kleenex while I'm in here, or napkins or something for my nose when I go into this gas station. So this gas station that I'm going to in just a second, for those of you that live in Indianapolis and you say that you watch my vlogs and you're like driving around listening to this, I'm going to the Speedway at 86 and Ditch, which is actually also in the movie, in the book Fault in Our Stars. It's where Hazel Grace has like a medical emergency, and they have to call the emergency, like they have to call a 911 and have an ambulance come out. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? It's that gas station in the movie and in the book. Which is interesting, because if you read John Green, if you read the book The Fault in Our Stars, it all took place like right around here. North Central High School is back there, and they supposedly lived around here somewhere. And then like Holiday Park is right down the street. All the places in The Fault in Our Stars is like right around here. But when you read his book, and I know that he's moved because like he lives in a different part of Indianapolis now, but when you read the book Turtles All the Way Down, which is his newest book, it literally, like, this is like Ditch right here. It literally, no, Michigan Road is where it takes place. It literally takes place all down, like down there off of Michigan Road, like the whole, like that's all it is. This girl that works in here, she is so sweet. I always feel so bad for her that she's working so late. Did I forget my wallet? Oh, look at these glasses that Alex. Doesn't even look like a 19, does it? Hello? 2000. He's like, maybe you want this for a video. Oh, there's my wallet. Okay. Oh, and I actually did have a pen in here. I was looking for a pen in here the other day. All right, you guys, well, listen, I'm gonna go get a bottle of water, and I will be back in just a second. Bye. I thought I was recording, and I wasn't even recording, but anyway, I'm leaving the gas station. I got Kleenex, and I got a bottle of water. It was actually really packed in there. I'm kind of surprised that, like, it was like, there were a bunch of, like, younger people, like, in their 20s, and I was like, is college back in, like, school yet? It's like high school kids, are kids back in school yet? Like, when does school go back? When do your kids go back? Do you guys, if you have kids, let me know in the comment section below. I have no idea when, like, holidays are over. But it does seem like they're shorter and shorter anymore. This is right where I saw that scooter that one night. Oh my God, it was so funny. So Alex's mom, she went to, you know, San Diego. She's still there. Okay, I'm listening. But anyway, she went to San Diego for Christmas, you know, and like when she got there, apparently like Fufu and his girlfriend used those glider things. What are they called? Gliders? I don't know what they're called. And so they took like a video and put it on Facebook of like her going down the street in one of they're called Birds. Do you guys have them where you're at? I guess there's an app you use and it's called the Bird app or something like that. Kind of was crazy. I think they look like fun. I'd like to try them. Scooter, not glider, slider. Scooter, the scooters. Not that I called it a glider. Anyway, yeah. Do you know like that saying, like, I can never remember how it goes. It's like feed a cough, starve a cold, or whatever. But what if you have both? What do you do? Like starve it for an hour and then like feed it for an hour? And I know that you're supposed to drink a lot of water and like get a lot of vitamin C. Doesn't it suck being sick? When I was like growing up, like I can remember like if I was homesick from school, which usually had nothing to do with me actually being sick. I just didn't want to go to school because kids were so mean to me. And I think I don't know that my mom actually really knew that. I just know that she knew that I didn't want to go to school. And she never really was, like, my mom was never the mom until like later. She was never really the mom that would be like real pushy about it. It slid. Anyway, but my mom was like never really like the pushy mom. So like if I didn't want to go to school, like she wasn't like, you're going to go to school. And later, when I got like later in high school and stuff like that, she was kind of a little bit more like that. But she would say to me, like, if you're going to be at home, like you're going to stay in bed if you're sick. And so like a lot of times I would like just get like all my books, and I had like a TV, like this old TV in my bedroom, like with a VCR. And, well, it must not have even been a VCR then. It must have been like a Betamax or something, because that would have been when I was younger. We didn't get a VCR until I was like 12 or 13. That's kind of a cute story. I'll tell that in a second. But I would like get everything situated, you know, like in my bedroom with my stuffed animals and stuff, and then I would just stay in there like all day. Like I had this little cave going on because I was in bunk beds, and I always slept on the bottom bunk. And I would have all my books and stuff, and yeah. But then by the time that I would like really enjoy it, then it was like the day would almost be over, and I wouldn't want to go to school the next day. I missed a lot of days in a row in school. When I was growing up, like I would miss like 2 and 3 days in a row, and then my mom would be like, I really think that you should try to go to school tomorrow. Like, and that kind of meant like, okay, this has gone on long enough. And I think like middle school, like late elementary school to middle school, that's really when like the bullying was the worst. And like middle school was horrible. And like my mom never came out and asked like what was going on. You know, later like when I told her, she just was like, I never knew that was going on. And I'm like, I don't know. She just always seemed very sensitive to me about like that, like she knew something was going on, but she didn't know what it was. It was almost to me like looking like at that time, it felt like it was kind of like this unspoken like thing, like she knew, but she didn't ask. If that makes sense. But then later when I found out that she had no clue whatsoever what I was going through, it was kind of like, I don't know. Then, but she did say, she goes, I knew there was a reason why you didn't want to go to school. I just didn't know what it was, you know? But the problem was, I would get like days behind in school, and then I would really like never catch up. And, you know, I never did real well in school. Like, you know, like where people are like, well, like my son or daughter like got straight A's until they were like in 4th or 5th grade, and then like their grades went downhill. Well, first of all, I mean, we're talking 4th or 5th grade, you know what I mean? So, and today it's a different world though, because like kids actually, I have like friends of mine who have 1st graders that have homework, and I'm like, this is insanity. I don't remember having homework when I was in 1st grade. I kind of believe that at that age, kids should be learning what they're learning in school. And then they should go home and they should be able to like enjoy their evenings and play with their friends and, you know, relax with the family and stuff. I don't know that I think in 1st grade kids should be sitting at the kitchen table having 3 hours of homework. I think that's ridiculous. So anyway, but that's just my 2 cents. And if you're a teacher, I'm not trying to step on your toes because I know there's like lessons plans and things like that. But I don't know. I think we're like rushing that whole process. But like, I mean, I never got bad grades in elementary school. I always got in a lot of trouble for talking, which I'm sure is no surprise, right? So that would like always be on my report cards. But I never got in a lot of trouble for, I never got bad grades. But I never got like extraordinarily like good grades either. Like I never got like, you know, like all A's and then like my grades went down. It was like never like that. Like I would get like B's and some C's. Like those were my grades. But then like when we would do like the standardized testing and whatever, which back in the day was called like the CAT test. Do you guys remember that? It slid while I was blowing my nose. Anyway, okay, so, but back in the day, like, yeah, like I would get like B's and like, you know, a couple C's or whatever. I never got like great grades, but I never got like horrible grades. But then when we would do like standardized testing, because this was always like such an issue with my teachers and my mom, I don't remember my dad ever really talking to me about it. Now I do know like my dad, he knew, like my dad knew like from a very young age, like he's talked to me about this, like he knew that I was gay, like he just was like, Peter, he was like, I knew when you were like 4. And it's all based on stereotypical kind of stuff, but like he knew, you know what I mean? And so I think like he was kind of sensitive to the fact that probably like me not wanting to go to school and grades and things like that. But I don't know why he would never have talked to my mom about that, but you know, she said they never did. So and my dad, like when I came out, I remember it was just like pass the butter. I mean, he could like literally care less. And I can remember talking to he and my stepmom later about it. And I said, did you guys ever talk about thinking that like you were gonna have to deal with this at some point? And he goes, what do you mean deal with it? And he got very defensive. Like my dad is like very, very defensive about me being with Alex, my sexuality and things like that. Like he tolerates no bullshit from other people if they have anything to say about it, none whatsoever. And he goes, what do you mean deal with it? He was like, deal with it. He was like, you're my kid, I love you. It's not dealing with it. He's like, it's just part of who you are. And he's like, and I knew that was gonna be part of who you were, like when you were growing up. He goes, you were just different from other kids, you know? And so then I said, well, like, did you and, you know, my stepmom ever talk about it? And she laughed and she's like, that was like one of the first conversations we had after I met you for the first time. And, I mean, I was a real effeminate kid, you know? And she was like, I just asked your dad, like, like, do you think that Peter might be, you know, gay when he gets older? And she's like, you know, we just kind of, like, knew that this was going to be the thing, you know, and we were fine with that. They're so awesome with all of that. You know, my dad walked me down the aisle at my wedding, and, so anyway, though, but, like, I can remember, like, I didn't get great grades. I mean, I always got, like, B's and, like, a couple C's until I got into high school. And when I got into high school, like, I really, really struggled with my classes. And especially, like, my math and science classes. Although I took this botany class, which is so interesting because one of my best friends that I met, that she was, like, my best friend my junior and senior year. She and I actually had the same birthday. She lives in Portland now. And she was a year behind me. And her dad taught my botany class, and I didn't know her at the time, and I had it like my sophomore year, and I loved that botany class. And I really kind of like, it was like one of the first classes in a long time. Like, I always loved all of my English classes, because I love to read and all that kind of stuff, but it was like one of the very first classes. Like, you know when you take a class and you're like, I could probably do this for a living, or like maybe I'd like to go into school for this. It was like one of the very first classes that I really, like, I earned an A in it because I loved the class and it just came naturally to me. That was the only science class that I ever did well in. And, I'm sorry about this road, you guys. It's a cobble brick road. And then, oh, but anyway, so, like, when I was growing up, I didn't get great grades. I got, like, B's and C's, right? It was never that thing, like, oh, my kid used to get great grades, and then something happened, and, like, their grades went down the hill. It was, like, never like that. But the thing that, like, my teachers and my mom never understood, and I don't remember talking to my dad about this, but was that, like, on standardized testing, it's called the I-Step in Indiana now. I don't know what it's called where you guys are at, but I can't remember what it was called back then. But anyway, I would test, like, off the charts. Like, literally off the charts. Like, I would always be, like, in, like, the top 1 or 2 percentile. Even, like, on, like, science stuff, but, like, math, I would always test lower, but still not super low. And they just didn't understand it. Like, and they would say, like, well, he's just not applying himself. But, like, literally, like, I would apply myself. Like, I really worked as hard as I possibly could in these classes. And, I mean, I don't remember ever slacking. Now, I will tell you that in high school, I don't remember ever bringing a book home, not once. And I don't remember my parents ever asking me about it either. Like, I literally do not remember bringing books or homework home in high school, ever. And I think part of it was that, you know, my friends that I was in high school, my friends in high school, we all referred to ourselves as freaks, you know. We were just different and shaved, you know, heads on one side, and we were always coloring our hair and, you know, listened to punk rock music, and we were always, like, you know, going through this part of town called Broad Ripple or walking downtown. I mean, we were just different, you know, and we were rebellious. And the thing was, is that these girls that I hung out with, although they were freaks like me, they, unlike me, could never bring a book home and got straight A's. Like, literally got, I mean, I'm not, like, no exaggeration. These girls all got straight A's. They all got into great programs and colleges. And, like, my one friend, I was telling the story on here not too long ago. Maybe I actually told it on, I think, a video from my Peter Monn channel, that she wanted to go to Princeton. She wanted to go to Princeton. It was like her dream school. She couldn't afford it, but she wanted to go. And so she's like, well, I'm going to apply or something. And I said, and back then we had these essays that you had to fill out. My friends were just, like, smart, like, different smart, like, in this way. Like, I sometimes wonder with her especially, like, what would have happened, like, had she gone to Princeton. Like her capacity for, like, creative intelligence, like, I don't even know what I mean by that, but you know what I mean? Like, to think outside the box was just so large. And, I look back at that, it's like crazy, you know, and these are twin sisters that I was really good friends with in high school, and the other, she's like a teacher, and then her sister is a naturopathic physician, and they're real still, like, hippy-dippy, you know, but they moved out west, and they live in, one of them lives in, I think, well, both of them live in Washington, small towns in Washington, but anyway, and I still talk to them from time to time. But they never had to open a book in high school. And the one sister wanted to go to Princeton, and that was kind of like her dream school. So she said, well, I'm going to apply to it. And so the essay was compare and contrast two sides of a penny. And she wrote, like, heads I get in, tails I don't. And she got accepted. Like, seriously, like, she got... All of my friends, the SAT scores were like off the charts. Now, I will tell you that is the one thing that was interesting that my parents could not figure out. There was that hearse again. That freaks me out every time I see it. My SAT scores, and like it made no sense to anybody because they were like, you've done so well on standardized testing for like years. And then my SAT scores were horrible. They were absolutely horrible. So, yeah. But, whatever. You end up where you're supposed to end up, I think, to some degree, you know? But I also think this, like, I don't know. Like, me going to, like, a city school was, like, so appropriate for me, who I was at the time. And, you know, like... I've always felt like I wouldn't have been comfortable, like, on a campus. Like, when I go visit camp, like, Alex, we were talking about this tonight, because, like, he and Sarah, you know, they both went to IU, and when, and lived in Bloomington, and because he was like, she was like, I haven't been back to IU since I graduated, and he goes, well, do you want to go down there for Little Five? Little Five, if you don't know, is like, we have the Indianapolis 500, and, like, the weekend before they do Little Five, and it's on bikes, and the movie Breaking Away is about that. That took place, like, my beard is driving me nuts tonight. That movie took place, like, when my parents, like, would have been, like, in college, I think. But anyway, it was, like, with the cutters and it was, like, a local, they were, like, bikes. They do, like, bikes, little tricycles and stuff. So anyway, Little Five is, like, this huge weekend at IU, and, like, it's just a huge drunk weekend. And they always have, like, big bands and stuff, like, the big, like, people come down. Lil Jon came there a couple years ago, and it's like this huge deal at IU. Anyway, so Sarah tonight said, she goes, I haven't been to IU since I graduated. And Alex goes, well, do you want to go down there for Little Five? And she goes, Alex, I'm not much of a rager anymore. She's like, I've kind of grown out of that a little bit. And he started laughing, and she's like, no, I was thinking more like we could go down there and, like, walk around all the old buildings. Which is so funny because that reminds me of stuff that, like, my parents did when they were probably, like, my dad used to take me down there, and we would go to, like, Nashville, which is, like, this little cute town right outside of Bloomington. And then we would walk around, like, Bloomington, and he would show me, like, the Fiji house and the Pi-Fi house where my mom lived and all the different places around, you know. And I'm thinking, like, oh my God, Alex and Sarah are, like, that age now, you know, because my dad would have been that age. So it's kind of funny. Anyway. It's weird when you reach an age that you, like, remember your parents being at, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's really weird for me because, like, I look back on my mom getting sober at 51, and I remember her, like, being, like, my 50s, like, she would say, like, her 50s were the best years of her life, hands down. Like, not just because she got sober either, but because she became very, very comfortable, you know, with herself. And I don't know if I've shared this story on here before, but my mother was very, very big-breasted, like, extremely big-breasted. And she was petite. She was 5 foot, like, exactly 5 foot. And not heavy. And so, like, you know, and she was very self-conscious of her breasts her entire life. I mean, it was something that she talked about. I talked about it on here the other day. And when she was in, my mother, she was just like, it's so weird to me, like, whenever I talk about this stuff, people always kind of look at me and like, how do you know that kind of stuff? Well, my mother was very open about this. My mother actually would have been a fantastic mother, and my aunt too, I think, was with Caroline, but my mother would have been, like, a fantastic mother to a daughter. She really would have, because my mom talked about, like, periods and all this kind of stuff, you know, and she would say to me, like, she'd say, you need to know about this stuff for one day when you have a wife. Isn't that cute? And my mother would say that to me. Well, Mom. Anyway. So my mother and my aunt both got their periods early, got very big-breasted early, and my mother, I think it was by, like, 7th grade, was like a triple D, 7th or 8th grade. Well, these boys were looking in her bedroom one night, and my mom's stepdad, like went out back with like a shotgun and called the police and was like pissed, right? And when the police came, and this would have been, so my mom graduated from high school in 61, so this would have been the late 50s. The police asked my mom if she wore tight sweaters to school to entice these boys. And that stuck with my mom, like her entire life. Like she would talk about that, and she would say, you know, like, it doesn't matter like what a woman does, that if you try to hide your breasts, you know, then, you know, you're being a tease. If you wear too tight of a sweater, you're being a tease. You know, it's always the woman's fault. My mother really struggled with that like her entire life, you know, that idea of what she deserved and what she didn't deserve and things like that. And never felt like she deserved any of it. I will say that. Like, I mean, it wasn't like she believed like she deserved that or brought it on herself. But that being said, she always covered up a lot because she was embarrassed of having big breasts, and she would say, men go right to my breasts. She'd say, I can tell you immediately if like I'm standing there like talking to somebody. She was like always a man. She's like, they're not looking at my eyes talking to me, they're looking at my chest always. And she said it's embarrassing, but it's also kind of like demeaning, you know. And like she always felt that way. And my mother wore a lot of turtlenecks, like when I was growing up, a lot of black turtlenecks and things like that. The last, I would say, 10 years of her life, she just stopped giving a shit. Like when she got sober, I don't know if it was her doing inventory on that piece because we never talked about it. I don't know if it was her just feeling more comfortable in her own skin or more confident or whatever it was. But she'd say, I don't give a shit anymore. And my mother would wear V-neck t-shirts and literally show cleavage. And she didn't care. Like, she was like, I don't care. She was like, they're my breasts. She was like, you know, I'm going to be comfortable in what I wear. And if people are going to stare, they're going to stare. And then that's their shit. It's not mine. And I'm done worrying about this. I want to be comfortable. And she didn't. My mother was the most confident in her own skin, like the last 10 years of her life. And I'm so thankful that she got to that point, you know. And my mother had very cute style anyway, very cool. She always wore black, or black and some pink. Like pink, hot pink was like one of her favorite colors. And but you know, I think it's hard, you know, when like we do very deliberately pick out our clothes and things like that. And I think it's kind of an interesting commentary, you know, on society. And I think the other thing is like this one thing that like my mom was judged about a lot in her life, you know, like was the one thing that she was like the most critical of herself. Like she always wanted to get a breast reduction. Well, for two reasons. She was like, I'm tired of people always constantly staring at my chest. And she would say, number two, it hurts my back. Like it's so painful. And like I had never thought about it until later in life when, well, this was actually the year that she passed away. She had seen the Oprah, where they talked about getting your breasts, like your breast sized appropriately, so you got the right bra, because if you had the right size bra, then your back wouldn't hurt as badly. I don't know if you know this, but like this is, I think it's kind of a known fact now, but back then it was kind of revolutionary, you know, and it had just come out and Oprah had done this huge thing on it. And so anyway, my mom went and she got sized, and she had thought she was a triple D all her life, and she found out she was a J. And I'll never forget when she called me and she goes, I'm so embarrassed. She's like, she told me, she's like, I'm a J. She's like, I didn't even know they made J bras. And she had to like special order them, and they were real expensive. And I remember she just was real over it. But anyway, you know, it's weird for me because I'm like, right now, 5 years away from the year that my mom got sober. Let's just slide way over there. I'm 5 years away from the year that my mom got sober. And like, I would say for like the last 20 years, like 51 always sounded so old to me. Like it always sounded so far in the distance. And now, like, I'm right there. I'm like, I feel like life is really kind of like speeding by. And I will say this, And I don't know if this is a good thing or if this is a bad thing, but I really am at a point of like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I really am. Like, and I think, like, I remember talking to my mom about it, and she would say, you know, in your 20s, you think you know everything. And then she'd say, in your 30s, you kind of conform a lot because, like, you know, you're supposed to have the house and this job and that job and whatever. And she's like, and then in your 40s, she said, you know, you start kind of like coming into your own, you start caring a lot less, you develop a lot of your own identity that you're going to have for the rest of your life. And she goes, by 50, you really don't give a shit what anybody else has to say anymore. She's like, you really don't. She goes, your 50s are like your freeing years. It's like you're wise, but like you still are young enough that you can have fun. And she's like, you just really don't give a shit, you know? And I have to say, like, at 46, I really don't give a shit anymore. Like, you know, I feel like, I don't mean like I don't give a shit about anything. Like, I care a lot about some things. I just am not like, I'm not willing to play petty games. I'm just not anymore. You know, it's just, it's a waste of my time. And that's, I guess, what I mean, you know? And I think that's where she got too. She just was like, because I can remember there were a couple friends of hers that, you know, she just, I would say like, well, you don't talk to so-and-so anymore. And she'd say, no, I don't. Well, why not? Well, I mean, it's just always a lot of games and drama, you know? And I think that's kind of where I'm at a little bit. And I think you get there as you get older, it's just like, you know? But it's freeing at the same time. Because what it does is it allows you to care about the things that really are important. You know what I mean? Whether that be like, I don't know, going to find some great Neil Young album, you know, in a vintage album store that you wanted to listen to or forever, or donate your time to some charity that you believe in, or spending time with your loved ones, you know, or reading a great book. I mean, those are really, truly the things that matter, right? The things that don't matter are us getting caught up in spinning our wheels in cycles of negativity. Like, that is not worth it. Like, don't waste your time doing that. And if you're younger and you're watching this, end it right now. I spent too much of my life caring what the wrong people thought about me. That's really, I guess that really encompasses what I mean, is that when I say I don't give a shit, like, I don't give a shit what certain people think anymore. Like, and I did for so long, you know, like Tanya and I were somewhere the other day, and she knows this bothers me. I can't remember where we were, but we were talking to somebody, and the person we were talking to was like, yeah, but I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. And I just really, like, I struggle so hard when people say that. Like, I really, like, I'm not a believer that that's true. Like, I believe people convince themselves that that's true, but I'm not a believer that's true. I believe that we care what some people think, right? And I think there are periods of our life where we become very consumed with what a lot of people think. But the reality is, and like, Alex is so good with this, he's like, you know, especially like with being on YouTube and stuff, he's like, you're never gonna meet, like, and this is where I've kind of gotten over it. He's like, you're never gonna meet some of your biggest haters. He was like, you will never even see their face or know who they are, because they don't even put a picture with like their name, and their name is probably fake anyway. So why do you care? And you know, like, that was kind of like my first year on YouTube, and it's gotten a lot better, but I think that actually, by being on YouTube, helped me a lot realize, like, who it is important that cares about me and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, whose opinion do I really care about? I care about my husband's. I care about my close friends. I care about, you know, like, my family. I care about a lot of you out there that are really, really supportive of me. You know? So, but I think that we have to be careful not to change what we do and not to not be true to ourselves as a result of caring too much. Do you know what I mean? Like, we only live one life. This is not a dress rehearsal. And I try to remind myself of that on a regular basis. You know, I don't want to become too consumed with, like, you know, living up to the Joneses, so to speak. And I think I did do that for a really long time, you know? I don't know. I think the people that inspire me the most, look at my crazy hair. I think the people that inspire me, I actually took a shower and did my hair before we went out to dinner and stuff too. The people that inspire me the most are the people whose, like, the life that they're living aligns with their soul. And what I mean by that is, like, when you go into their house, like everything looks the way it's, you know, like, it was funny because, like, when we were on our Q&A the other day, like, somebody asked about our different styles, and Alex was like, well, Peter's, like, very bohemian and, you know, eclectic. And I thought that was interesting that he defined me that way, and we've never really had that question. We've never really had that conversation before. But I feel like that does speak of my soul, if that makes sense. So it was interesting that he saw that in me. But I think, like, you know, when a person's soul matches how they're living their life, then they inspire us. You know what I mean? Because it seems very authentic. Like, they're living by what they want to do, what's in their heart of hearts. And I'm not talking about, like, you know, just like, screw everybody, I'm gonna do what I don't mean that, okay? I'm talking about doing it and, like, you know, living true to who you are, living your most authentic self. Like, if you want to, you know, wear purple shoes every day, wear purple shoes every day, you know? And don't worry about if your mom is going to say, are you wearing purple shoes? You know, if you want to color your hair purple, color your hair purple. You know, yes, people are going to say things about it. People are going to criticize you for it. People are going to laugh, but it makes you happy. It's going to stop. Hold on. But if it makes you happy, do it. You know, like, we only live once. If you only like to read, like, a certain kind of book and they're all, like, Harlequin romances and everybody else you think judges you for it, screw them. Read what you want. It makes you happy, you know? Do what you want to do. Like, we are only here but once. And, you know, like, I really try to think about that, like, with, like, some of the best advice I've been given, you know? It's like, you know, my dad always said to me when I was growing up, you know, I don't care what you do as long as you make a positive contribution to the world. As long as you, every day on a daily basis, that you try to better your life and better somebody else's life on a daily basis, then, you know, and I think, like, in an indirect way, I do that with my vlogs. I think there are people out there, I mean, you guys are so fantastic with the comments about, like, you know, thank you so much, and I've been lonely lately, and I feel so bad, you guys, and so that's one of the reasons why I'll never stop vlogging, you know, even if I only had, you know, I don't know, I'd probably, even if I only had 5 subscribers, I still wouldn't stop vlogging on this channel, you know, and for those 5 people that it meant something to watch, that it affected their life in some kind of positive way, and I'm thankful for that, you know, and my dad told me that when I was growing up, and then, you know, I've had many teachers in my life that said, just be authentic, be yourself, be genuine, you know. My mother used to always say, you know, dance to the beat of your own drum. You know, what's in your heart, what's in your soul, you know, what makes you happy. And I think, like, I'm very thankful that I was surrounded by people growing up that really encouraged that kind of, like, creative thinking in myself, you know, to just do what makes me the happiest, you know? But there's some boundaries with that. You don't do what makes you happiest if it's gonna hurt other people. You don't do, you know what I mean? Like, if you're just careless to other people's lives. Like, that's not what that means. Like, you know, you don't just one day pick up when you have 5 kids and go, I don't wanna be a parent anymore, and I'm just gonna leave, and you take care of yourselves, and because I'm gonna live the best, you know what I mean? Like, no, we've made these choices, we've made decisions, you know? It's like, you know, it's just like, I don't just one day go, well, I'm not gonna pay any bills anymore because I don't owe anybody any money, because my authentic self tells me I don't. Well, yes, I have to pay bills, you know what I mean? Like, let's just be for real. We live in reality, but given those conditions, there are ways to still live your most authentic self and be genuine, you know, and have this best life that you possibly can have. And I mean, what would that look like for you, you know? I think it takes me, like, a couple days going into each year to kind of really decide, like, what I want this year to be about, you know? And I think that's it for me, is, like, I really want this year ahead for me to be, like, full, oh, this camera, my lord. Oh my lord. I think I really want this year to be about, like, you know, traveling and having fun and lots of laughter and lots of reading and new music and being exposed to new things and just, like, I want to live this life, or I want to live this year of my life, like biting into like a really juicy pear and just like the juice going everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want this year to be like. Yeah. So. And I don't know if I talked about it on here, if I talked about it, like, I think I talked about it in a Peterisms video, but like if your life matched your soul, what would you be doing? What would you be doing differently? You know what I mean? You gotta ask yourself that. And I have to say, like, in a lot of ways, like my life does match my soul, you know? Like, I feel like, oh my God, with YouTube, I just feel so blessed that people want to watch my videos, you know, and that I get to do that on a daily basis, you know? And then with the writing and stuff like that, and, you know, I don't know, I just feel so blessed to be, like, in recovery, and all the friends that I have from all of that, and, you know, like, I don't know. I have a really great life. I really do. I have a very blessed life. And I have to remember that. I have to be thankful of that. Like, at the times that things maybe aren't, you know, the best, is that I have to remember that you're pretty blessed. You have a pretty good life, Peter, you know? So ask yourself that question, though. It's an interesting question. Like, if your soul was talking to you, telling you what you should be doing with your life that you're not doing right now, what would you be doing? I think it's a good question for all of us, you know? It's like interesting, the first thing I thought of is I would have fresh flowers in my house every day, because I love fresh flowers, you know? And I think that's like one of the things that I would do is I would have fresh flowers. I would buy a lot of like local art, and like wherever I travel, this is one of the things that Alex and I have started talking about, is that wherever we go, we want to buy like a painting or something and bring it back, and like, so we can like add it to the artwork that we already have. It doesn't have to be anything really expensive, just something that would remind us of that trip, you know what I mean? And that's kind of, I guess, like the way that my, like, I love, like, you know, candles burning and flowers and artwork and books sitting around. And like for me, and like the record player, I need to go get a needle for my record player. Like for me, like that's, I feel like how my soul speaks is like through that kind of stuff. So, it doesn't have to be huge things, you know what I mean? Like, it can be small little things of how our soul speaks and like how our soul lives if it was living through us. But those are honestly like things that I don't ever do. Like, I don't ever just go get flowers, because if I'm at the grocery store, I'll see some flowers and I'll think, oh, they're really pretty. I don't want to waste like $10 on flowers, you know what I mean? Like, I'll think, oh, that's a lot of money to spend. Well, a lot of money for what? If they're going to bring me some enjoyment, you know what I mean? I don't know, maybe that's something that I need to do. I've had a couple friends of mine in my life that always have fresh flowers in their house. My aunt used to always have fresh flowers in her house. I just think it makes things, you know, pretty. And I also like the summer, I want to get like a lot of plants. I love having plants, and I've kind of gotten away from that. That's like another way that I think my soul speaks. And I really want to, I have some areas like behind our house that we could use as a garden. I really want to like start a little garden back there this year, and kind of get my hands in the earth. And I used to do that. I was kind of, I've never really talked about that on here, but I was kind of obsessed back in the day. I wasn't very good at it, but but I was kind of obsessed with, like, you know, keeping a little garden, and reading all kinds of different fun books this year. That's like something I want to do, and listening to new music, and I don't know, traveling a lot and things like that. So I don't know, I think that that's how my soul's going to speak in 2019. And you know, and I also think like really only paying attention to the positive, not the negative. I think that's really where a big part of where I need to focus on 2019. And I think we all should do that, you know? We should all do that. So, anyway, I am going to get off here now. And I hope you guys are having a fantastic, I can't believe it's Thursday and we're past Christmas and past New Year's already. Anyway, I'm going to get off here. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Thursday. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.